Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, so when you think of a private eye, you probably picture trench coats, smoky bars, right? Well, forget all that. Today, we're meeting an investigator who works from a high-tech sailboat, uses psychic intuition, and, get this, his entire fortune comes from gerbil pelt slippers. Let's meet Oscar Nudnik. Right? I mean, that's the question at the heart of The Salty Dog. We're about to meet a hero who doesn't just bend the rules of the genre, he throws the entire rulebook out the window. He's this incredible mix of high-tech genius and a past that is just, well, it's almost impossible to believe. To even begin to understand the case he's working on, you first have to understand the man himself. And trust me, figuring out Oscar Nudnik is a whole mystery all on its own. So on paper, he's just a licensed private investigator in Georgia. Simple enough. But that single line is pretty much where any semblance of normalcy just ends. So take every gritty, hard-boiled detective you've ever read about and just toss that image right out. I mean, just look at this profile. It's a masterclass in contradictions. You've got a towering 6'2" man who was raised by dwarf circus performers. He's a spiritual Buddhist, but he's also the heir to a fortune built on gerbil pelts. And here's the kicker. He's a detective, a job that's all about people, but he's a germaphobe who refuses all human contact. Wild. And that gerbil pelt fortune? Yeah, it comes from a product that is just as wonderfully weird as he is. We're talking about Nudnik bedroom slippers. These aren't just any old slippers. They're made from gerbil pelts and have these little night lights in the tips that turn on when you step down. It's a very specific kind of luxury. And their family tagline? It just says it all, doesn't it? If it isn't a Nudnik, it isn't a light-activated gerbil pelt bedroom slipper. This is the world he comes from, this bizarre intersection of high fashion and farm-raised rodents. It's the foundation for everything Oscar is. And because of that foundation, he operates in a totally different universe than your typical PI. While they're sitting in a dusty office sipping whiskey, Oscar's on a state-of-the-art sailboat, the Buckminstress, drinking Himalayan water from a goatskin pouch, all while wearing an organic cotton caftan. So let's get to the case. How does a guy like this get dragged into a potential murder? Well, his client doesn't just knock on his office door. Oh no, she triggers the high-tech movement alarm on his heavily fortified boat. The case kicks off when this wealthy widow, Kiwi Wan, shows up absolutely convinced that her husband's death was not from a heart attack, like the police said. She's certain Mango, a guy in peak physical shape, was murdered. And she's willing to pay Nudnik's pretty steep fee, $5,000 a day, to prove it. Now, the victim himself, a former Olympic weightlifter, is just as unusual as our detective. The medical examiner, a guy named Bubba, describes him as this bizarre mix, a massive head, the body of a powerful dwarf bodybuilder, and a distinctly Chinese face. And this number? Well, according to that same medical examiner, this was Mango Wan's, let's call it his most notable feature. It was apparently so surprising that the staff at the morgue couldn't stop talking about it. It's just another layer of pure strangeness on top of this whole case. Okay, so Nudnik isn't dusting for fingerprints or chasing down leads in the usual way. His methods are, well, they're far more unconventional. To solve this crime, he literally has to turn the world and himself upside down. His main tools are a wild mix of ancestral martial arts, some serious psychic gifts, and just extreme caution. That cane he carries, it's actually a deadly weapon for a martial art called Balfu that his circus performer parents taught him. He reads psychic energy instead of case files, and he only eats food he makes himself, these Nudnik bars, because he's terrified of being poisoned. So this is his actual step-by-step process for gathering clues. At the scene of Mango Wan's death, he does exactly this. He goes into this trance-like state, and he senses the presence of someone else in the room, a professional hitman, he thinks, who is disguised as a homeless man. This vision is what totally convinces him that yes, this was murder. You can just imagine what his client is thinking while all this is going on. I mean, she can't help but comment on his bizarre methods. She's paying him a fortune, but she is clearly just fascinated and completely bewildered by this guy in a teal caftan doing a headstand in her dead husband's bedroom. To really, truly grasp why Oscar does what he does, from his diet to his all-electric car, we have to look at the personal philosophy that guides him. He lives his life by a very, very strict code. See, he's a member of this political group called the Citizens Party, and they have this really strict set of rules for living. And this isn't just some casual belief system, it's the operating manual for his entire life. It explains pretty much every single eccentric thing about him. And this framework is really the key to understanding him. He avoids all commercial TV, stays away from toxic people, only eats organic food. It's why he drives an electric car and powers his life with renewable energy. This is the logic behind his seemingly illogical lifestyle. So, what becomes really clear is that his actual detective work is just one piece of this highly structured life. As you can see, he dedicates just as much time to meditation, maintaining his properties, and of course, a significant chunk of his day goes to actively avoiding other human beings. So, where does all this leave our gerbil farm detective? He's gathered his first clues using his psychic intuition, and now it's time for some more traditional detective work, even if he is outsourcing it. So, he's got his initial impressions, and he's already set the next crucial step in motion. Because he's convinced the official cause of death is totally wrong, he's arranged for a private, independent autopsy. He's hoping that a little bit of science will confirm what his spiritual senses have already told him. So, for now, these are the key figures in our little mystery. You've got Oscar, the bizarre detective. You've got Kiwi Wan, the client, who seems like she's grieving, but who knows what her motives really are. And then there's Lynette, the maid, who just seems to be watching everything with this cynical eye. Each one of them could have their own secrets. And that's really the central tension we're left with, isn't it? As this investigation goes on, the question isn't just who killed Mango Wan, it's what on earth is this one-of-a-kind detective going to do next? The absurdity of the man is every bit as compelling as the mystery he's trying to solve.